What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here. I am also a proprietor of this podcast and a casino host here of the Work Hard, Play Harder, where we bring individuals on to talk about their why into their occupation and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's coming on with me today. She is a podcast host and content creator for Everything New York Giants podcast. She's also a content writer for Big Blue United. She's been a social media manager, social media content creator. She's been freelance and doing her thing in the sports realm for a while. So we're going to talk to her about her podcast. We're going to talk some New York Giants football. We're going to talk about her why into sports, have some icebreaker questions. Her name is Adrianna Iafolla. So without any further ado, I introduce to you Adrianna. Good afternoon, Adrianna. How we doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's wonderful to see your face. I just want to say thank you for hopping on my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. How's your week been going so far?
It's good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm downstairs because we're still getting our new dog settled. So you might hear some snoring in the background, but she's
That is
getting settled in here.
That is okay. That is all right. Once again, thank you for hopping on. I want to reiterate why I wanted to bring you on before I start peppering you with all these kind of questions. You do a podcast called Everything New York Giants Football. And I do a podcast. Obviously, you're on it here. I'm a sports reporter as well. You love sports. I love sports. So I love talking to people who are likewise. I love getting to know their stories of how they came about it. I would love to hear about how eventually you started your podcast. You're also a content writer for Big Blue United. Love to hear about how you got that going as well. But you've also been a social media manager in the past. You also are an alumni of South Carolina. You're a Gamecock as well. So
Yep.
I would love to, like I said, get to know you a little bit outside of what you do, and also learn about who you are. So I just love the fact that you accepted my invitation to come on my podcast. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm
No,
excited.
no,
Sounds like we'll have a lot to talk about.
absolutely. And you know we're going to talk about some New York Giant football, obviously, but we'll get there. That's for sure. The first question that I always have for my guests that come on here is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Was there any inspirations, any role models growing up? What led you into want to have a career or have something to do with sports?
So I grew up with three brothers. I'm very competitive and I was always into sports growing up. So I always wanted to work in sports. That was my goal. I went to college, I studied PR and kind of just figured like I would get into the sports world with internships, etc. So I
Mm-hmm.
moved to New York City, and my job was in marketing, advertising, whatever. I had applied for jobs at ESPN, at MLB, whatever, and it just never worked out. So I kind of just let that go for a little bit. I got into like health and wellness and was doing that for a while. And then I've always been a big Giants fan, but over the last couple of years, obviously, we have seen what has gone on with this team.
Sure.
And I was just at home watching the games, and I'm like, I am 1 second away every game from throwing something at my TV. And I have a group chat with some of my family, my cousins, my uncle, and I'm like, if we are all literally like ferociously texting each other during games, talking about how pissed we are at this team, I know that other Giants fans feel like that. And
Sure.
I felt like, kind of looking along Instagram or whatever with my social media background, I was like, I could do this. Like, I could make an Instagram page where all we do is talk about the Giants. So why shouldn't I? And for me, it just came from a place of like, I love the Giants. This is such a brutal time for them. I know there are other people who feel like me, and I want to connect with them. Like, how do I get in touch with them? So it's 2024 now, we do it on social media. That's how we do it. So I figured that was the best place to start. So I started there and then eventually did the podcast about 1 or 2 years into social.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Now, make sure I don't butcher your name. Is it Adrianna Iafolla?
It's
Or Lafola?
Adrianna Iafolla.
Adrianna Iafolla.
Yes. Do you think
Okay.
I'm Italian?
Ooh, that's a tongue twister right there. I don't know if I can say that 10 times fast. That is what's up. I like that. Does anybody ever shorten your name? Is this call you like Audrey or
Yeah,
what they
so
do?
my parents call me Audrey. My friends call me Odd. My husband calls me Odge. I'm like, I just go by anything these days. Like most people can't pronounce it, can't spell it. So
Yeah.
I have a slew of nicknames and I'll just respond to any of them at this point.
Well, I'm hoping that we can certainly be friends. That's for sure. So I'm gonna say Adriana. How about that?
Okay, that works.
Okay, I'm with it. I'm with it. Okay, so let's talk about your college choice. As we said, you went to the University of South Carolina, right? So I would love to know, were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to the University of South Carolina? And also, how must it been when you saw the Giants win the Super Bowl while you were there at the University of South Carolina?
That was probably, I had a couple moments of regret when I was down there. That was one of the bigger ones where I was like, I can't believe I'm not going to be home for this parade. I can't afford to just like get on a plane and go back.
Sure.
But so when I was looking at colleges, sometimes I can be very short-sighted. But
Hmm.
I just was like, I want to do something different. I grew up in New Jersey. I grew up going to New York City. I just was like, this is my day-to-day life. I want to have a 4-year experience that's going to be different than what I normally live. So I looked mostly at schools in the South. The only school I looked at that was close by was Towson, and I really only looked there because, like, God forbid anything happened. If I decided I wanted to be closer to home, at least I would have an option.
Sure.
Um, but I've always been pretty independent, and I was just like, I'm out of here. Like, I'll be fine. So South Carolina, when I went to look at it, I was like, this is my number one school. It has everything I want. It has a beautiful campus. Like I said, I love sports, so I loved the football aspect of it. I used to cheer in high school, so I thought
Okay.
maybe I would do like the cheerleading team or the dance team. Turns out I was nowhere near good enough, but it was worth a try.
Okay.
Um, and it was kind of like a quintessential college experience.
Hmm.
And I'm glad I did it. It was very much like I lived a life for 4 years that I wouldn't have done if I had gone to Pace or, I mean, I wasn't smart enough to get into NYU, but if I had gone to like a local school like that, I just feel like I wouldn't have had a lot of the experiences and things that I did by going to USC.
No, I totally understand that. They do have a very good football stadium, very good stadium that I've been to multiple times. So I transplanted, a little bit of background on me before I get to the next question. I transplanted from Atlanta, Georgia now to here to Minnesota, where I do sports full time, right? I cover 12 high schools and I cover a college. I do freelance sports stuff as well. And just kind of started this self podcast up here, talking to different individuals, talented individuals like yourself and passionate sports fans, and I loved going to South Carolina. I'm a UGA fan, so I'm a Bulldog fan, and obviously South Carolina UGA are SEC. So I had a chance to watch many of those games with friends down there. So I love the stadium though. Stadium is big. I believe it's called Bryce Williams Stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
Williams
I think, yeah,
Bryce. It
Williams
it
Bryce.
is
Williams Bryce. Gotcha.
what's insane to me is it's bigger than a lot of NFL stadiums.
It is.
Like that is crazy.
It is. I think Kyle Field in Texas is the biggest stadium. Ohio State may be competitive with them, but I think they're hold over 100,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Yeah, Texas A&M. I believe they do.
That's
Um,
incredible.
so these next questions I want to ask you is favorite questions. Okay, so just tell me some of your favorite things off the rip based off these questions. Are you with me?
Yes.
All right, let's rock with it. Favorite meal you like to cook?
I don't really love to cook. When I do this, I found this recipe for this and it's simple and easy. They are
Okay.
like Mediterranean spiced meatballs with couscous, tzatziki, and feta. It sounds more
Okay.
involved than it is, but delicious, healthy, easy meal.
Okay. I like that. Something different. I love that. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Oh, um, has to be the Red Hot Chili Peppers when I weaseled my way into front row at the Firefly Festival.
Okay. Now I'm a huge Flea fan. I'm huge into the Californication, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and before that, some of their older stuff. What
Yeah.
about you?
I'm with you on that. I don't love a lot of the new stuff. I'll listen to it, but I prefer the old stuff.
Okay, got you. Say less. Okay. Favorite place you like to travel to or you ever travel to?
Oh, I have to say Paris because I studied abroad there and it was my first time to Europe. So it was fun.
Okay, okay. Any cool stories you could tell from that, or should we not keep that off? Should we keep that offline?
I don't know if I have any great stories from there, but I just had an overall great experience and I did a lot of traveling. So it was my first time to Europe. So I went to Amsterdam, Italy, I went around France. Where else? I just went to some cool places and I was like, Europe is the best.
Okay, I got that on the bucket list. I just got my passport, so I'm gonna be definitely going to travel around to these different countries for sure. Okay, I like that. Favorite sport you watch on TV? Favorite sport you attend in person? They could be the same sport.
Football for both. I have attended hockey games, which I like, but hockey can be a little confusing for me. So football, at least I know what I'm looking at.
Okay, I like that. Favorite restaurant you like to eat at?
Ooh, ooh. I am gonna pick a local place called Flipside. They
Mm,
have, it's basically burgers and they have a bunch of different options. They have ones with like French onion dip and chips on it, or you can make your own burger. Delicious. And
I
they
have
have
never had
chips.
French onion dip. Uh, yeah, never had it.
You're
So
missing out.
let me tell you a couple of things I've never had, and you'll probably be like crazy. So for the first time last year, I tried ketchup
What?
in my life. Yeah, yeah.
So do you dip fries in something else or you always eat them plain?
I've always ate them plain.
Wow.
Yeah, I've
So
always ate them plain.
do you now
Um,
dip them in ketchup?
I do now. Yes, I do
Okay.
now. Yes. I never had coffee. Um, yeah, yeah. your, well, your face totally changed when I said that.
I am a coffee addict. I only
Yeah.
have it twice a day. I would have like 5 cups a day if I knew that I would sleep at night. I
Mhm.
recently just did like some GI testing and it came up on the scale that like coffee is the one thing that I shouldn't have. And I said to the doctor, I was like, I'm not giving it up. So you better figure out a way for me to still drink it and like
I
not
feel it.
upset my stomach.
That's dedication right there, Adriana. That's dedication. I feel that.
Oh,
I've
it's so
never
good.
had a cup of coffee in my life. Like I'm a water and juice kind of person. So I love water. I love
Okay.
juice, but never had coffee. My family thinks I'm crazy because everybody in my family drinks it.
The thing that my dad is like this too, but the thing that I can't understand is you just, and I'm a morning person, but you just wake up and are ready to go. Like you don't need any dose of caffeine, like tea, nothing to just make you a
No.
little more alert. What is that like?
It's beautiful to be honest with you. I mean, like this morning, I'm off today, so what I normally do on an off day, I like to get up in the morning. I like to either go for a walk or work out. But first thing I do is obviously I get just a bottle of water. Bottle of water has some me time to myself. Think about what's upcoming for the day. So I had obviously some podcast episodes. So I was like, okay, we're going to do that. So later tonight. Gonna watch the game. Obviously, Celtics Mavs, game 3 of the finals coming on later tonight. Gonna watch that. But in the morning time, either go for my walk, which is beautiful out here today in Minnesota, or go to the gym. But I'm ready to go with either a bottle of water or a glass of apple juice. Either or. Doesn't matter.
That's impressive.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to ask you about your podcast, right? You said you started a couple years ago. There's many people that, start podcasts for all different kind of reasons. What was the reason why you started your podcast? And also talk about your contributions to you being a content writer for Big Blue United. What's the kind of things that you write about, talk about? Talk about that.
So, what's funny is I actually was resistant to starting a podcast
Mhm.
because I listen to a lot of them, and I think that a lot of the Giants beat writers and the people who cover the Giants do a great job. And I was like, everyone has a podcast. Like, do I need to have one too? And then as I was continuing to post on Instagram, I was realizing like during the season that I couldn't do game recaps. I couldn't talk about injury issues. Like I could only talk about a certain amount of things in the 90 seconds that Instagram would allow me to do. So I was getting to the point where I was like, I need more time to talk about the things that I want to talk about. And I
Sure.
think at this point that a podcast is probably the only way for me to do that.
Hmm.
So I ended up starting it. And at first I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Took me a few Google searches, but I figured it out. And now I feel like I know it was the right move, but I also feel like there's really not a lot of women who have podcasts that either focus solely on one team
Right.
or focus on a certain sport in general. So I was like, I'm going to keep doing this because I feel like there's a voice that's missing. So if if I'm lucky enough to inspire a female Commanders fan who loves the team as much as I love the Giants to do something on her own, then I would love it. Like Patty Traina does an excellent Giants podcast, but her and I have different experiences and different contributions to the topic because she's a beat writer and I am more of a fan. So I think if people are looking for a Giants podcast or looking for a woman voice or whatever, it's nice that now they're going to have options for that when it comes to the Giants. So ideally, I would love that for across the NFL and across sports in general. So I hope this is the beginning. So for Big Blue United, I actually do mostly videos, but what I will do for them is sometimes like contribute a Facebook post if I'm talking about like an update from a game or injury updates, things like that.
Hmm.
And then I also, if I try before I make any type of reel, whether it's for my page or Big Blue United, to come up
Sure.
with like bullet points or like a couple sentences of what I really want to hit on. So I make sure that I am getting like the best bang for my buck for the video and I'm not rambling for 90 seconds.
I truly do. And that's another thing that was pretty intriguing to me watching some of your videos. And you do this magical thing where you go on live and you answer a lot of the Giants questions, which is great. It's great insight. It's great. I just love, enjoy watching it because people come up with some very interesting questions for you to answer on these. And you answer them, and you answer them all throughout your live videos that you do, which intrigue me to want to talk to you about it. But it's also a great segue because it's one of those things that sometimes as a fan, when you advocate your opinion, people just want to push back for no damn reason. They just want to push back and troll and do all these different kind of things. Sometimes that messes with people's mental health, right? So the next question I have is, how do you keep your mental health strong, knowing that, not only are you going to get the positive Giants fans that want to hear you speak about the team, but you're also going to get some trolls or some negative feedback that sometimes can be a negative effect on an individual.
I think a lot of it has to do with my age and where I'm at in my life. I think if I was 22 years old and was starting this, it would bother me a lot more. I think being older and being able to put things into perspective makes it a lot easier.
Yes.
The trolls versus the negative comments about the Giants are different. The trolls saying stupid things like, oh, you're a woman, you shouldn't talk about sports. Those things I'm like, I just am like, how bored and like sad in your life are you that like this is what you're contributing to the conversation. Like I'm having a
Right.
live conversation where people obviously respect my opinion enough to have conversations and we can go back and forth and, we can argue politely and whatever. But for you to just come in and say something stupid like that, I brush those off because I'm like, go tell that to Erin Andrews and go tell that to Melissa Stark and all of these other amazing women who have had incredible careers across the board.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
I'm like, that's not going to bother me. I think also I have a very strong support system. So I have, my husband, and then I have family and friends, and even like a lot of the people who are part of my audience are so kind and wonderful that I always have to remind myself to focus on the good because there's always going to be bad. And the
Yep.
people who are commenting on the bad, you have to be in a really sad place to do that. Like the people who are supportive and kind and busy with their lives are not taking time out of their day to comment stupid things on other people's Instagrams.
Right.
So I think that perspective helps a lot, because if you sit down and think about it and are like, well, would I ever do that? Would my friends ever do that? Like, they wouldn't do that because they have better things to do with their lives than to sit around and comment stupid things.
I feel that. On here with Adrianna, podcast host and content creator of everything New York Giants on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. I love that you said what you said. And the reason why is because when you do have trolls and when you do have negative comments, you're always going to have a B side and an A side, right? You have negative, you have positive, and stuff like that. People do say things to you just to try to get a rise up out of you. And I'm in my 30s. I'm not sure about you, but I'm in my 30s. And somebody who when I write these stories and sports report and go out to these games and write these feature stories, most of the time when people see me in the community, it's all love. Going grocery shopping, getting gas, it's great. But then sometimes you do have people that want to email you and say silly things, and it's like, I don't even want to give you the kind of energy that you want me to give. Like, it's a waste of my time. Like,
And
God
you
bless.
also know, like, if you saw me in person at a Giants game, would you ever come up to me and say that to my face? Never.
Probably not.
You would,
Probably
like,
not.
it's so embarrassing. Could you imagine someone overlooking that conversation? Like, you don't have the
Sure.
guts to do that in person. So you
Right.
can hide behind your computer all you want, but I agree with you. It's not worth, people want the rise out of you. They want to argue with you. And I have done that a few times. I'm not going to lie. I have argued
Sure.
back and forth with people. And then you just get to a point where it's like, this is a waste of my time. I have better things to be doing. This is not productive.
Absolutely. If somebody came up to you and said, hey, I want to start a podcast talking about my favorite football team, but I'm so nervous. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know if I'm going to have dead air. I don't know if the topics that I talk about the team is going to be something that's worth watching. What kind of advice would you give that individual?
I think we all have that thought in the beginning when they start. I felt the same thing, like, who is going to listen to my podcast? And for probably the first 6 months to a year, I would be looking at the download numbers and be like, there's like 20 people listening to this. What's the point? But then I would get to a point where I felt like I was growing as a podcaster. And when I had people on, I was asking better questions and I was improving my interview style and things like that. So that was a good reminder. And I think another reminder is like, everyone starts somewhere. So try it. What's the worst that can happen? You try it, you listen back, you decide, oh, I don't like this section, cut it out. You can Google how to edit. And I think that everyone's going to have days. We all started somewhere. And if you don't try, you'll never know. That's been my biggest thing too. Like when I was going back and forth with starting this Instagram page, thinking like, oh my God, are people going to look at my page and laugh at me and be like, who's she trying to be? And then it's like, who cares?
Right.
Who cares? And if those people are sitting around and judging my Instagram, again, get a life. Like if you have nothing better to do than to sit and watch my page and say, what is she doing? She has 5 followers. Who cares?
Right. My followers are not going to bother you. So I get it. I totally get that, understand that. Work-life balance though, right? When you try to fit in a podcast and try to fit in the Giants, I'm not sure if you have another job on the side or not, but if you do, how do you fit that in with your work-life balance? You know, you have a husband as well, you have friends, like, you have a life outside of doing your podcast, writing, and maybe work. So how does that work-life balance fit into your schedule?
During the season, it's tough. I feel like I'm on my phone 24/7 and I know it's not good, but I have yet to find a good balance of it. So
Sure,
my plan going into this season, because I do have a 9 to 5, but I work from home, so it's a little bit more flexible and easier that I don't have to commute and be in the office. So, if breaking news happens, I can share it and I can get on live as long as I'm not in a meeting or in the middle of something. So that
sure.
is huge. I think if I had to commute every day like I used to, I don't know if I would be able to do this, especially during the
Right,
season.
right,
I think my plan for this season is, when the team has off days on Tuesdays and when, there's not as much going on during the week besides the injury reports and the normal stuff, I'm going to try and be on my phone less and try and take advantage of that time where like the Giants world is a little calm, because then once the injury report comes out on Friday, I do like game previews on Saturday and then the game on Sunday. It's like, this is Giants for like 48 hours. So
right, right.
that will be my plan. I'm going to try and see if that works.
Okay. I love it. I love that you have a plan for that though, because like I said, it could become overbearing sometimes. Like you say, you have a 9 to 5, you're in meetings and all of a sudden breaking news, somebody's not playing, somebody's not doing this. And it can become overbearing because it's like, man, I'm not first to that news. I'm not first getting it out. Somebody might beat me to it or this, that, and the third. So I love the fact that you have a plan going into it this season, because now you've done it for some seasons and you can kind of navigate through it a little bit and see what works for you. So I love that. This next thing I want to do is this or that. Okay. So I'm
Okay.
gonna throw two things at you and you just choose one or the other. Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go. First one is Popeyes or KFC.
I have never had Popeyes, so I have to pick KFC. But my dad
Oh
says
my
Popeyes is better.
oh no. Okay. Now what are you in New York now?
I'm in Connecticut now.
Connecticut now. Okay. I don't know how Connecticut is or what they have at Popeyes there, but I want you to find one in Connecticut. Okay.
Okay.
And you let me know how the Popeyes is. I promise you it'll change your life.
My dad is always like Popeyes is 100% better than KFC.
Okay.
So
Shout out to your
I'll get
dad.
there.
Shout out to your dad. He's a good man. He knows
Skills.
what he's talking about. Okay. Here we go. Tom Brady or Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Kobe Bryant or LeBron James?
Kobe.
Okay. Oh, you my girl now. I like that. Okay. All right. I rock with you, girl. I'm a huge Kobe fan. That's why I grew up in California. So yes, huge Kobe fan.
Okay.
Okay. These next four have to do with concerts that you rather go to. Okay.
Ooh.
Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
I mean, I have to pick Kendrick. I was a Drake fan, but this whole thing, I'm like, oh,
I know that's right. I know it. Kendrick Lamar, I feel you. J. Cole or Lil Wayne?
oh, I gotta go Lil Wayne.
Okay. Going with Weezy. I like that. Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen?
Luke Combs.
Okay. I like that. Chris Brown or Usher?
Usher. After that Super Bowl performance, sign me up. I'm going.
That's pretty good, right? It's pretty good.
So
Which
good.
which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Badminton, I suck at bowling. I've never been good at it.
Okay. I feel you on that. You're in the minority, but I feel you on that.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Most people have picked bowling on this podcast, no question. But
Interesting. Okay.
I love badminton though. Badminton's a great sport.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that it's more of a team sport. I feel like it's more interactive and fun.
no, absolutely, no question. Bowling is just good when you have a couple drinks in you and then you start throwing the ball. So I understand. I totally get that. Okay, that's pretty good. Do you like desserts?
Yes, big
Okay,
time.
so I'm about to throw four different categories of desserts at you. You have to eliminate one of them that you'll never eat again. So here we
Okay.
go. Cookies is one.
Okay.
Ice cream is two. Cakes is three. And candy is four. Which one are you getting rid of?
Cakes. Could definitely
Okay.
pass that up.
Okay. I like that. Do you like potato chips?
Yes.
Okay. Same format. Four companies. You got to get rid of one.
Oh,
First one is Doritos. The second one is Pringles. The third one is Lay's. The last one is Ruffles. Which one are you getting rid of?
ooh. Probably Ruffles. Not enough options.
Oh, oh
You
no.
can't
Hey,
get rid of
Adriana,
Lay's and Pringles. They have everything.
the greatest chip ever made is sour cream and cheddar Ruffles.
Okay, those are delicious. I'm sticking with my answer.
Okay, okay.
I'm a
Here we
I'm a
go.
salt and vinegar fan. Those are my favorite chips. So
Okay,
I don't have Lay's because they have them.
I will be transparent with you. I've never had salt and vinegar chips.
Oh, you're missing out. Salt
Yeah.
and vinegar chips on the beach with a deli sandwich is the epitome of happiness.
Okay, okay. I feel you on that. I do. Like I said, you'll be surprised of some things I never had. I told you coffee. I told you ketchup for the first time. Never had mustard. Never ate a pickle. I've never had. Matter of fact, I just tried sweet tea for the first time this year.
Oh, sweet tea is so good.
That's what they told me. Yeah, and it's not bad. It's not bad. I was just always a lemonade person. As I told you, I was water juice. So I grew up
Yeah.
lemonade. So that's for me.
Okay.
Are you a
That's
chicken wing person?
yes.
Okay, so barbecue or lemon pepper?
Lemon pepper. I don't really like
Okay.
barbecue sauce.
Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Both, but usually wet.
Okay. Do you like bone in or boneless wings?
Bone in, always.
So you are a messy eater, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. That's pretty cool. I like that. Okay, okay. Now, last one for the this or that.
Okay.
Would you rather, right? Would you rather be doing podcasting or would you rather content create and do videos?
Ooh. I would say podcasting because it allows me the opportunity to interview people. And
Okay.
I can't do that with 90 seconds on an Instagram reel.
Yeah, that's pretty tough to do, Adrian. That's pretty
Yeah,
tough. Okay.
not enough
Okay, I feel
time.
you on that. You were damn good on the this or that. I like that. Now, obviously, as I told you, we got to talk about some New York Giants football. I'm going to
Mhm.
give you my opinion of what I think the Giants are going to be this year.
Okay.
Not very good. I don't think they're going to be very good. However, the reason
Oh,
why is because obviously Dallas and Philadelphia are going to be atop of the division. They've been
mhm.
powerhouses for many seasons, right? Now, obviously, the Giants did. I would say the Giants a couple years ago played my Vikings and beat the Vikings in the playoffs. I'm in Minnesota. That was a great win by Daniel Jones and company. But since
Yeah.
then, the Giants have went through some changes. Obviously, Saquon Barkley is gone. The recent news of Darren Waller retiring, which that wasn't much of a shock as people like to think that is. I don't think that's much of a shock. He's going through it right now, period. So, but defensively, I think the Giants are going to be somewhat solid. The acquisition of Banks was big, no question about that. They still have, if I'm not mistaken, the Clemson kid, Dexter Lawrence, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. They still have him. But it's a lot of questions on that offensive side of the ball, especially with running back. Devin Singletary is probably their veteran running back that they have back there.
Mhm.
Jones has been up and down with his play. So I need your perspective on what is the outlook of the Giants this particular season coming up? I have them fourth in the NFC East division.
Wow. You think even the Commanders are going to be better than them?
I do because and here's the reason why I think that the Commanders are going to be a little better. I think they have more assurance on offensive side of the ball. I don't think defensively they'll be better than the Giants. And mind you, the Giants have had the Commanders' number last year. They did. They owned them last year. No question about it. But I have a lot more trust in Jaden Daniels in that offense side of the ball with Eckler coming over there with the running back, Jaden Daniels as well, Terry McLaughlin as their receiver. They just have more continuity on offense than I think the Giants have. It's not going to be like a superb like leap with them two teams. They're going to be close. You can flip and flop either one of those teams, to be honest. But I do have the Giants fourth in that division.
So I think the Commanders made some good moves this offseason, but I also think Jaden is a rookie. They have a new head coach. They have new coordinators, new front office staff. Bobby Johnson, who is the former Giants offensive line coach, who people were literally begging to be pushed out the door, is now their offensive line coach, and they traded away some of their best pieces. So I think they might be a little bit better, but I still think it's going to take them a year or two to get to the point where they're a competitive team, especially in the division. But I do think they'll get there, and I love Jaden Daniels. I wanted him so badly on the Giants, so I think he'll be fine, but I think he is still a rookie, and there's so much around him that's changed.
Yes.
So we'll see. I do wish him success, though, just not against the Giants.
Sure, absolutely. What do you think? How many wins do you think the Giants are going to get this year? Because again, the main questions is going to be on the offensive side of the ball, starting with their offensive line that wasn't very good last year. Daniel Jones was in and out of the lineup. He was a liability to stay healthy. Their running back situation as well. To me, like I said, out of the 17 games that they're going to play, I can really realistically probably see 6 or 7 wins, maybe. If we ran down their entire schedule, that's pretty much what I would see. Talk to me what you see.
So I think for this team, the biggest thing is health. I think if everyone is healthy, they are absolutely capable of winning 11 games. Last year, the reason the team was such a mess, there were a lot of reasons, but the biggest thing was the injuries. When Andrew Thomas, Daniel Jones, and Saquon Barkley and Darren Waller all go down, like realistically, what do you expect from this team? We had to pick up Justin Pugh, who spent the first 5 weeks of the season watching the games from his house. They have guard trying to play tackle, that's not his natural position, and he was a 3rd round pick in his second year, maybe. So I just think that if they were all healthy last year, I think we would have seen a different season. I don't think that they would have been incredible and would have won the division and would have been playoff bound, but I don't think they would have been as bad as they were. So I think that was a big reason for it. So I really believe that if they're healthy, and I go into every year being an optimist until they prove me otherwise, because usually that's what happens. So I'm going to go in being optimistic while I can, but I think they made some good moves. I am way less concerned about having Devin Singletary over Saquon than everyone else is. Obviously, losing Saquon and Darren Waller are both blows to the team. Yes. But I think ultimately you can't run an entire offense and have one good weapon. Like everyone knew Saquon was our best player and Waller was always injured. So I feel like now with Neighbors and Slayton and Wandale, who's showing up to be a big asset for this team, Devin Singletary is a proven back. He's a proven rookie. If the offensive line can block, I think he will be successful. And I really don't think there will be any issues there. So I'm a little crazy. I think the defense will be better. I think the defense will be better than the offense, but I think the offense is going to come into their own, again, assuming everyone's healthy, and they're going to be better, knock on wood, than people think they will be.
And see, the only pushback that I have, which is the 2 pushbacks, you mentioned it. Yes, if they're healthy, I think they can be solid. No question about it. I don't think they're going to be better than Dallas. And I don't think they're going to be better than Philadelphia. And that's going to be the toughest thing. Now, the NFC is down, in my opinion. They're down as a whole with their 16 teams. It's just going to be very tough for me to see the Giants slide in one of those 7 positions, because 4 of them go to the division winners, and then you have 12 other teams fighting for 3 spots. It's going to be very hard for me to see that. I do agree. If they're healthy, I do think that they could be better than 7 wins. Now, you said 11 wins. I don't know if I see that. I truly, that is being very optimistic, Adrianna. No question about that. But you have a point. If they are healthy, they did kind of base their offense on one guy and a couple guys. Losing them 2 guys, now you got to spread the ball around a little bit. I want to get your insight on Isaiah Hodgins, that wide receiver. What can he possibly be? Because I think he could be a sleeper.
I think he's going to be a good rotational player. When
Okay.
he has come in the game, he has made plays. I think he's a guy that Jones knows that he can rely on him. And
Mhm.
when Wandale was out and Slayton, was hit or miss with whether or not he was going to catch the ball, I think he felt like if I go to Hodgins, he's going to catch it and make a play.
Yeah,
So I think he's a guy that I think he's definitely going to make this roster this year. They have a lot of wide receivers right now, but I think there's no question he's going to make it. And I think he's going to be in the rotation, with Hyatt, Robinson, Slayton, Neighbors. I think he's going to be a good piece to add right into that mix of guys. And from what we've seen from Dable, we know that he's heavy on the rotation, whether it's tight ends or wide receivers. So I think he's going to get his plays this year. And I think, again, assuming Jones is healthy, I think Hodgins is probably going to get the ball quite a bit.
absolutely. No question about it. We also agreed the defense is definitely going to be better than the offense.
Yeah.
Defense wasn't terribly bad. But again, I love the cup too. New York Giants. I love it. Everything.
Thank you.
Um, but I do think that they got to start by getting that offensive line together.
Yeah.
Like, I can't put it all on Jones. Like, the offensive line has to be better. If they're not any better, Daniel Jones don't have a chance, and the Giants don't have a chance. They got to block better. They got to, because he's just not going to stay upright. He's not going to stay upright. He's not going to stay healthy. And Devin Singletary is not the shifty running back that Saquon can give. That Saquon is. So, you have 11. I have about 7. We'll definitely revisit this because I definitely want to talk to you about this more. We'll revisit it and see how the season goes and see if we both change our answers. Okay, we'll definitely
Okay.
see about that. No
That's
question.
fair.
Um, Next question I'll have for you is: if you wasn't involved with sports, podcasting, content creating, what career would you have pursued and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. I I pursued fitness for a little while and then I got burnt out on it. Um I actually almost after college when I was doing the fitness thing, I was training for a half marathon and I got some sort of knee injury and had to stop running, so I did physical therapy. So if I were to go all the way back and redo everything, I would have probably gotten a physical therapy degree, either as a PT or a PTA. Because I just, after going through physical therapy, I think it's amazing. And I was so impressed that these like little exercises with basically no equipment were enough to heal my knee. And then I was able to run 2 half marathons. So I think what they do is really amazing. I also got into a scary car accident a couple of years ago
Oh
and I
wow!
went to PT for my neck and it was fine. But like one of my joints was out of place. And the same thing, I think what they're doing is amazing. And I'm like fascinated with the whole physical therapy aspect
That's
of it.
pretty cool. I mean, pretty cool that you definitely would enter into that realm of physical therapy. Appreciate your openness. Wow, glad to see you still here for the car accident. That's for sure. Um, do you get to attend all the? Do you get to go to the Giants games or any Giants games that you plan on going to this year?
Yeah, so last year, for the first time ever, I went to almost every single home game and I got rained on at about 95% of them, which I'm like, God damn it, MetLife Stadium, I need you to get a roof because it was brutal. So I did go to most of them last year. My plan this year is I don't think I have any conflicts. Last year I had some weddings and stuff like that. And this year, luckily, my brother is getting married on a Saturday, so he's not interfering with the Thursday night football game. Um,
Awesome.
so yeah, so I should be at every home game this year. And I just hope that the weather is better and they win some more games.
I hope so too because I am planning on. So here's my thing that I like to do as a sports reporter. I work hard and I play hard. That's the name of this podcast. So I am going to work hard here, but I also like to travel. I like to go to different places. My goal is to hit all stadiums and all organizations. I've
Okay.
never been to MetLife Stadium before, so it's something that I definitely want to do. The Cowboys and Giants are playing a Thursday night game, so I'm thinking about attending that game for sure. At any game that I'm at, you and I, we got to link up. That's for sure.
I'll be at that game. So that's the Thursday before my brother's wedding. So my other brother,
Yeah.
my cousin, who's a huge Giants fan, her dad, who is a huge Giants fan, because they're all coming up for the wedding, we're going to get a
Mhm.
group of us and all go to the game together and tailgate. So if that's a game that if you can make, you should make, because I am probably going to call in sick that day and be at MetLife Stadium early, because God knows I am going to need at least a few drinks before that game, because
I
I was at
feel
the
that.
home opener last year. I was at the last 2 years home Cowboy games, which were both night games, and they lost both of them. So I need some
Yeah,
good
that was ugly
juju.
last year. That was absolutely ugly last year, that Sunday night game. No question about it. Yeah, if I'm there, I'm coming to the tailgate. Just let me know what I got to do. Let me know what I got to do. Come to tailgate. If I got to
There.
bring something, let me know. But we'll coordinate. That's for sure. Because I'm thinking that's going to be one of my games to go to. I'm typically off Thursdays, so I'll just
Okay.
probably use some PTO and see if I can come out there for a few days. So that's for sure.
And if you're
Um,
going to come to MetLife, you got to come September, October, because that's the best time to go.
that's
Usually the weather is the
mhm.
best. And you don't have to worry about, getting snowed on typically.
Yeah, being in Minnesota, I've dealt with enough of the snow. No question about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, September is a great month for me to definitely come out there for sure. Um, I always ask this question on the podcast as well. This is a music question, so it's a little bit
Okay.
off topic, but I love to ask it. If there was three albums that you can listen to with no skips, what would those three albums be?
It's so funny you ask this, because every Tuesday I do a Q&A, and someone asked me, what are my 5 favorite music albums this week? So I now have to narrow it down to 3, which is even harder. So I would definitely go Stadium Arcadium, because the Chili Peppers are my favorite band.
Sure.
So I would pick them. I would pick Eminem, The Eminem Show, because that's my favorite album of
Mm,
his. And I feel like they fit certain buckets, right? Like if I want to work out, Eminem is the move. If
sure.
I just want to chill, or like I'm driving, Red Hot Chili Peppers is the move. And then this is where it gets tough now.
I
I
know it.
uh
That means these are good questions.
Yeah. So my final 3 would be, I'm from Jersey, so I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. So it would have to be
Okay.
Born in the USA.
Good
I
ball.
love Miley Cyrus, and I feel like getting to hear Miley wail, like that's a good Bangers is my favorite album of hers. So it's a good like hype music.
Oh
So I like
yeah.
that. But then also John Mayer, some of his music is like, when you just want to like relax or chill. So, oh my God. I think I'm gonna go Miley, because I
Okay.
feel
I
like I
like the
could listen.
Bangles album. I do. The
It's so
Wrecking Ball.
good.
I mean, how can you not like Wrecking Ball? I mean, that's
It's
one of the. It's great. It's really great. It's awesome. She also has another song with Metallica called "Nothing Else Matters."
Mhm.
Did you have you heard that one?
Yes.
Yeah. So I like that one
So
too.
good.
For me, my albums would be Kanye West, College Dropout.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Jay-Z, The Blueprint.
Okay.
First Blueprint. And then no, with no skips. I probably would go with yeah, that is pretty tough. No skips.
So hard.
It is. It's very hard for these three albums, but I would probably I'll go something recent. Shabuzi, his album.
Okay.
The one that has the bar a little tipsy, that one, that artist.
Yeah.
His album is really good. Really good. So yeah, I'll go with those three for sure.
Those are good
Um,
choices.
yeah,
So hard.
absolutely.
Such a hard
Final
question.
two final two questions that I have for you. We talked about advice that you would give someone. What is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Ooh. Um, I think the biggest thing, and I like this because I think it goes into all aspects of life, is, and it's like so simple, but it's just to be kind to people because you never know what they're going through. And I
Sure.
think really, I mean, I hopefully we've all learned this over the last 4 years, like that everyone's circumstances are so different that at the end of the day, being kind and being nice to people is always the right thing to do. And I think
Sure.
especially like this can go for also any job industry. Don't burn bridges because you never know if you're going to encounter these people again. And, they could, in theory, make or break your career. So just be nice because if you think about putting yourself, I'm sure you've heard this too, that if you were in a group of people and everyone threw their problems into the middle, you would always take yours back, seeing what everyone else is going through. So I think those are just good reminders for everyone in
Mm,
all phases of life, no matter what you do for work. It's so simple, but it's so true.
I love that. Here with Adrianna, podcast host and content creator of Big Blue United, and also everything New York Giants on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. But I need some recommendations. I have never been to the state of Connecticut. I've only been to New York City once, and that was a megabus story, which I could tell you offline because that's a long story. But
I have
tell
been
me,
on the megabus quite a
oh,
few
so you
times.
already know. You already know how that goes. So I need some recs. What should I do when I touch down in Connecticut? What should I do when I touch down in New York City? Give me like three top things.
Ooh, okay. New York, walk the High Line as long as it's not the winter. It's a beautiful way to see the city. There's nice views all the time. And like New York can just feel so chaotic, but I love that the High Line just feels so peaceful. Like you don't feel like you're in the middle of the chaos of New York.
Right.
So I love the High Line. Second thing, this is a good question. I love Grand Central. I think if you've never been to Grand Central, it's such a beautiful train station, especially if you've been to Penn Station. Like the comparison of the two is
Oh,
not
I've
really
been to Penn Station. Yeah.
that place. Oh my God. I used
Yeah.
to commute in and out of there every day when I lived in Jersey. And I was like, this is the worst of the worst. So now when I go into the city and I go to Grand Central, I'm like, this is such a better experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Okay.
so that's
Okay.
nice. And then the third thing would be to do either take the ferry or do one of those like boat tours around the city. I think it's just so nice and it's such a great way to see New York and like it's just such a beautiful skyline. So I would do
Okay.
those. And then eat pizza. You have to eat pizza and a bagel, breakfast sandwich when you're in New York.
Okay. Okay. So I love that. And definitely that's one of my favorite places. I do have some friends out there in New York City that always tell me, hey, man, you should come out, you should do this. But I'm like, it's cold. I don't really want
Yeah.
to be going out there the cold. Let me go out there when it heats up a little bit and
Mhm.
do that. So this particular year, though, I plan on coming out there in September, especially to that game and being able to do that. So like I said, if you're there, let's link up. Let's do that.
Yeah. It looks like you're an Astros fan too, so you might be catching the Yankees Astros at Yankee Stadium, ideally in September.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, you saw the hat. So I just actually bought the hat because it's blue
Oh,
and blue's my favorite color. So I love that, and I like the color coordinate with my outfit. So yes, but yes, I'm
okay.
a huge baseball fan. I've never been to the Yankees game, so by that time, baseball will still be playing. I'm hoping that I can catch a Yankees game for sure.
Yeah. Yankee Stadium is nice the way that they redid it. I also think Citi Field is fantastic.
Mhm.
So the good news is the Mets tickets are probably way cheaper, so you can probably do both. Go to
I
one
love
game.
that. I would love to do that while my time in New York for sure. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we conclude?
I don't think so. I would just say, for anyone who's a football fan, let's just be optimistic. Let's be excited about the season while we can be, especially if you're a Giants fan. It's the 100th year of the Giants. There's a lot to look forward to. Even if the team has a rough year, there's a lot of activations and fun events that the Giants are doing. So I think it's a good way to just still feel like, you have this community of other fans who are still involved and invested in the team without being, like wildly disappointed all the time if they're not great.
I love that. I do. And I have a bonus question. My bonus question is, do you eat street meat?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to know that because the first time I went to New York, somebody offered me some street meat and I didn't know what the hell that was. And I was like, no, I don't want no street meat. I'm good. I was like,
The
that don't
halal
sound
guy,
right. It
if you're
didn't
gonna
sound
do
right.
it, do the halal guys, and it's the best when it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and you're drunk leaving a bar and you're like, I'm hungry, and then you can just eat some falafel. It's great.
Okay. Okay. Now that you said it, a true New Yorker, New Jerseyer, I'm definitely going to try it. But like I said, it just didn't sound right coming from an outsider. Do you want street meat? And I'm like, I don't, I don't know what you're trying to, insinuate. I'm good. I'll keep walking. You know what I mean? So now that you've said it, I feel comfortable. Next time I go there, I'll try some street meat and I'll let you know how it is. But thank you so much for hopping on my podcast. Work hard, play harder. Keep it up with your podcast. Everything New York Giants. They need to follow you on YouTube. They can follow you on Instagram here as well. And then, yeah, just, keep doing what you do with a smile and have a wonderful Wednesday afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. You too. And I am looking forward to our Cowboys Giants game adventure.
Absolutely. Please keep in touch. We'll take care.
Absolutely.